for the creation and the launch of a umbrella bond exchange traded fund proposal. But before I elaborate on that, I just want to say that in 2014, if you can recall, the government had launched the first equity-based ETF, exchange tradable funds. The 2014 step was towards equity trading funds. Now what the government has given, the cabinet has given approval for is for a bond equity trading fund, exchange trading fund. So earlier was an exchange trading fund for equities, now it is for bonds. And both the equity-based exchange trading funds of after 2014, twice, one was in 14 and one other was in 17, both have had a good success rate. The diversified index-based fund which was created in the name of Bharat 22, which was also an equity traded one, had very good reception. All that is equity-based. Now what we have done, and I'm very grateful that the cabinet has given an approval for it, is we are trying to deepen the bond market in India. We are making sure that the bond market can also become one of the ways in which both government, public sector undertaking that is included, and also private agencies can raise debt and therefore fund their operations. So not just depending on equities, but now depending also on the debt market. So this major decision of the cabinet actually deepens the bond market, actually deepens the alternative for raising funds, and therefore India can become a lot more financially vibrant economy. Now in doing this, we are giving an option also for retail investors, in that every retail purchase of the bond would give the retailer, one, a satisfaction that he is participating in the developmental activities of the country, two, to invest in his funds not just into banks through fixed deposits and savings accounts and earn meagerly from it, whereas now in an open, transparent fashion, the units that he will buy in this bond will be openly traded and the rates for the interest will be fixed in the market depending on the float. So for a retail investor, this gives an option both to buy bonds for government organizations, or be in the market, therefore also participate in any other bond issues. So we have now the cabinet has given permission for creating an umbrella bond ETF, through which we hope to diversify the investor base and bring in a lot of retail investors into the market. And how will we have the retail investors come into the market? Because the units are not going to be valued more than 1,000 rupees each. Therefore, the investor doesn't have to hold large quantities of money to go and buy 1 crore worth for the bond. He can participate in this even by just buying 1,000 rupee unit. This will deepen the bond market. And all right, when a retail purchaser takes it, does it mean he'll have to sit till the entire duration of the period for which the bond is issued? No. He can happily go and trade it in the market and get his liquidity whenever he wants. And therefore, the way in which the liquidity or the trading regime is going to work is through 3 different methods. You can buy or sell through 3 different methods. One is through the exchange. So after the new fund offers made, bond ETFs will be listed on the exchange. Investor can buy or sell such units. As I said, it will be in the range of 1,000 rupees per unit. Investor can buy or sell these units on the bond ETF anytime during the trading hours on the exchange at the prevailing price. Just for you to be clear, this trading will be within that number which is given for this ETF. In the sense, each of them will carry a ISIN number, International Security Number. Within that number, the buying and selling can happen. So the first one I said is through the exchange itself. The second could be when you're using the route of a market maker, where when there are no buyers or sellers, the market maker will buy or sell the exchange traded fund, those units that is, and aid liquidity on the exchange. To provide for this, what the cabinet has done is to make the market maker to have an inventory or to keep an inventory of ETFs, those ETF units worth 1 crore at a time. So for the market maker to play in the absence of buyers and sellers, he should have an inventory of such ETF units within worth 1 crore, and therefore he can come in when he wants to play. So when inventory, by inventory I mean the units that he has to hold, the ETF units which are priced at 1,000 rupees each, but in his own demat account, that is, he should hold a total of 1 crore worth of units, each unit being priced at 1,000 rupees each. Then the third route can be through the AMC. Large investors can also buy and sell ETF units directly through the alternative method units. That process is known as ETF unit creation and redemption. That process is what I've explained here. Transaction value for such ones, the large ones, will be 25 crore or above. So a retailer can buy 1 unit of 1,000, or a market maker can intervene, buy and sell if he has 1 crore worth of these units in his demat account, or when a large buyer wants to buy and sell, it should be for value of 25 crores or more. So these are the three different ways in which these bonds will operate. Now, therefore, what the cabinet has given approval for is 1, for this in principle, 2, for the CPSEs. At this stage, we are using the CPSUs and CPSEs only.
Public financial institutions.
Yeah, and also public financial institutions. So this umbrella program, now that it's approved, will have the AMC file the product with the SEBI first of all, so that we will be fully compliant and due diligence of the SEBI will be followed. Now that the approval has been given, post going to the SEBI will give the approval, and the AMC will then discuss the borrowing needs of each of the issuer. In this case, the CBSE or the public financial institutions or the CPSUs. Once their debt requirements are very clearly put down, then an ETF issue will happen. I'm just explaining the process through which this is going to happen. A launch date will be finalized, index will be created, and then the new fund offer will be open for subscription. Subscription either by retail through the exchange or through the market maker or through the large AMCs which can get into this matter. After the closure of the new fund offer, ETF will subscribe to these bonds for the issuers, and then at this stage, the first time that we are offering for 3 years or for 10 years. 10. So 3 years or for 10 years. After the new fund offer runs through, let us say next year, at the end of the first year, a renewed offer will be made for those which have come under the 3-year category for the rest of the 2 years. And for those who have come for the 10-year category, for the rest 9 years, because we're going in the next year for renewal. So, I've broadly given you a picture. We are happy to deepen the bond market as we promised in the budget. Through this issue, we want to create an opportunity for Aam Janta to be able to participate in the bond market, which is a very safe option because public sector undertaking are raising the bonds, which is a very interesting offer in that when you put it in a fixed deposit, you get a fixed rate of return only for your interest. For that period, you're locked in. Whereas here, by giving the retail offer, once the issue is announced, the market determines the rate based on the number of retailers who are coming in or the buyers who are in the market and the total quantum of bond which is going to have to be raised. So the return for each one of those units which a common man puts in will be determined by the market. So you're more likely to get more than what you would get in a fixed deposit. So in a way, we are making sure that for the savings and for the returns for a common man need not just be at the fixed rate in a bank in the fixed deposit, thereby giving him a better option to earn better returns for the money that he would want to invest. And of course, he'll be happy to participate in the developmental activity of the country. So in this process, once the AM alternative mechanism is established, the calendar, post-discussion with those concerned CPSEs, the calendar of their borrowing will also be advance notified. So the markets can also be sure of how much of borrowing is expected to come to the market, what is the route through which this is coming. The ETF will clearly show what is the quantum with which we are coming, and therefore when the units are being bought, you're very clear on the demand and supply mechanism of money that is available for borrowing. One other relief which will happen is we won't squeeze out. When I say we, government will not squeeze out all the money available through the savings by borrowing it all totally. That money will now be available for everybody else also. So this argument normally which is put forward, that government itself by taking away everything that is kept in the banks as savings is taken away by the government in total as its borrowing, leaving nothing for those who want to borrow otherwise. The squeezing out shall not be so much now because we are now taking this route of entering the bond market through the ETF offer. So the broad annual debt calendar will be also very clearly announced, and this I think will make Indian debt market move towards greater maturity. So I think this is a major decision, keeping in line keeping in line with what we had announced in the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, Mr. Lakshman Rao. Yeah.
मैम मैं लक्ष्मण CNBC आवाज़ से, मेरा सवाल ये है कि जो ETF लॉन्च करने जा रहे हैं उसमें शुरुआती फर्स्ट ट्रांच में कितनी कंपनियों के शेयर उसमें रखे जाएं, कुछ हमने ये तय किया है और कब तक इसे हम लॉन्च करेंगे। और एक दूसरा सवाल कि पिछले दिनों स्वदेशी जागरण मंच ने BPCL और एयर इंडिया के विनिवेश पर सवाल उठाए हैं और उसका विरोध किया है। इसको लेकर आने वाले दिनों में क्या विनिवेश के रास्ते में सरकार कुछ दूसरा रास्ता अपनाएगी?
आपके पहले प्रश्न के लिए मैंने जैसे बताया, इस अप्रूवल के बाद कंपनियों के साथ बैठ करके ग्रुप ऑफ सेक्रेटरीज जो एम्पावर्ड है इस मामले में, वो बात करेंगे उनके रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है, कितना फिक्स करना है वगैरह। सो उसके बाद ही मालूम होगा, उसके तुरंत बाद आपको मालूम होगा कि कितने के लिए एक एक कंपनी उनके अपने डेट रिक्वायरमेंट्स को प्लेस कर रहे हैं। अभी उसमें बोलने का कुछ नहीं है।
Yes, please.
Ma'am, Nikunj from Bloomberg Quint. You said which are these 10 companies which will raise debt from this bond ETF, and will they be given a choice to raise debt for 3 years and 10 years? That's what you said.
That's right.
And my second question is, ma'am, many states have raised concerns over GST compensation. Some state FMs met you today as well. So why is the compensation not being given to the states?
On the first one, I'll give the list of the companies a bit later, but Today is the day when I'm telling you the cabinet has given in principle approval. Approval for forming this umbrella ETF and also to go to the market for this purpose. And the approval is what I'm coming here to talk about. The details of which are the companies, how much would each of them want, will all be coming out to you after the first meeting takes place of the secretaries who are empowered to sit and talk with these companies. Yes, some of the finance ministers from some states met me. They requested that the compensation amount which is now due be given to them at the earliest. They've given me a memorandum also.
You're looking
Mr. Prabhu. Yes.
Madam, are you looking into it, just as a follow-up to what Nikunj's question, are you looking into it? And Javdekar Saab, if you could kindly tell the viewers and everybody else, what exactly is the salient features of the Citizenship Amendment Bill? Are you safeguarding the interests of the Northeast, in particular Assam State, as well as the Data Privacy Protection Bill? What exactly are you doing? Is it in line with what the Supreme Court had argued?
The Citizenship Amendment Bill is concerned, it takes care of all interests.
All right, so that was our finance minister talking about the new bond fund, the Bharat Bond Fund, which they have announced. It's a ETF, just in line with how PSU ETFs have been coming and hitting the markets. Now they've gone for the bond ETF where government securities, etc., will be housed. So it's like a debt ETF for the investors, and retail investors can also come in.